that folks have heard me sing this all over, but I'm just going to do it tonight. We had a family saved in the month of January at our church years ago. A mother and a father and their son Matthew. And in the month of May, it was time for graduation. And Matt's buddy came to his house with a car and said, let's take a ride. I got a new car for graduation. 1.5 miles from the house, they were hit head on by a reckless driver. And I remember this so vividly because Matt was 6'2". He wore a size 12 shoe, very handsome young man. Had one of those kind of sparky personalities that sometimes teenagers have, especially young men. They can walk in a room, it seems like everybody just lightens up. You know, one of those kind of personalities. But I remember being in Children's Hospital in Cincinnati. They were keeping him on machines until all the family could come to grips with what had happened to Matthew. I remember looking down and there's those feet. You know, when you're a parent, I don't know what it is, but those babies' little fat feet, you just love those little fat feet. You pick them, run your finger down them every now and then, see how much they'll twitch. But I remember putting my hands on Matt's feet there in Children's Hospital. Over at Dixie Heights, one of the big schools in Kenton County, the students said, well, if Matt can't go down the aisle, we don't even want to have a graduation. Let's just give us our diplomas. They called in the school counselors and the school psychologists and all, trying to reason with these young people, and it just wasn't going to happen. There wasn't no reasoning. The principal went to the superintendent of Kenton County, Kentucky, said, can we have a memorial service? They said, you can have a memorial service, but remember separation between the state and the church. You can talk about God and you can talk about heaven, but you can't refer to the Bible because the Bible is a closed book to other religions. And you can talk about God, but you can't talk about Jesus because he's only one way. They're badly mistaken. He is the only way. Nevertheless, they called a Catholic pastor, a Baptist preacher, and myself. It was 11 o'clock on a Tuesday. And out of the 1,400 students, there were over 700 that gathered there in that gymnasium. But 2 days before we were to have this memorial service, I asked the principal, I said, are we allowed to sing? She said, I think a song would make it a whole lot better. I said, what's the restrictions on the songs? She said, there are no restrictions as long as they're published lyrics. So on that Tuesday morning, with over 700 volunteers coming that day at 11 o'clock a.m. in that big gymnasium, they took one of those maple-colored, blonde-looking, spinet-type pianos, put a microphone on the piano and put a microphone for my voice. The Catholic priest got up and said wonderful things about God in heaven. The Baptist pastor got up and said a lot of things about God in heaven. And then it was my turn to speak about God in heaven. But before I did, this is the song I sang. Somebody out there the tears from your eyes. He's hope for the homeless. He'll carry the burdens you bear. When you don't have a prayer, there's somebody out there. Somebody out there thought it was cool to keep taking chances, thinking they never lose. They're hooked on a feeling that's left them empty and fooled. There's somebody out there quite decide whether to live, whether to die, searching for strength to make it through their crisis in life. Oh, but I know somebody out there whose arms open wide, to embrace you, wipe the tears from your eyes. He's hope for the homeless. He'll carry the burdens you bear. When you don't have a prayer, there's somebody out there. Since there weren't any restrictions on the words to the song, it was my turn to take my liberty. Yeah, come on! I said these. Jesus is his name. He's that someone out there. I went a little bit further. I tried him, I know he's true. No limit to what my God can do. Jesus. Then I gave him a message. You can call on him at the midnight hour. He'll deliver by his power. Jesus. When you don't have a prayer, when you don't know where to turn to, you don't know who to talk to, you don't know where to go, you don't know what to say, cry Jesus, cry Jesus. When you don't have a prayer, there's somebody out there. Do you know him tonight?
Hallelujah.
I said, do you know him?